Hello and welcome to my minimalist class. Today's topic is decluttering and minimizing your kitchen. So I appreciate your attending. My name is Andrea and I'll be guiding you through today's class. So I'm always curious, which area of the country are you joining in from and how did you hear about today's class? As far as which area you're calling in from, I'm always curious because I want to see how our community is growing throughout the world. So if you can, please let me know in the comments below and I appreciate you sharing. So a little about me, I'm calling in from Maryland, which is on the east coast of the United States, and I'm a wife and mother of 4. So each day, my family and I, we live with 12 healthy habits in order to enjoy a better quality of life, but also to support the success of all that God calls us to do. And because these habits have been so transformative to our lives, I want to make sure that I share guidance on how to both implement and stick with each one of these helpful habits so that we can all live truly thriving lives together. So I'll share more about the other videos and workbooks and classes and support groups that I offer throughout the week. But for now, I want to go ahead and jump right into today's class. So our goal for today is to set up an easy to cook and clean in kitchen that you can enjoy. So while we're together today, we'll manage an overabundance of dishes and appliances. We'll deal with special use and seasonal items. We'll find ways to never struggle to find and pull out utensils in our kitchen again. We'll also look at zero hesitation dishes. All of this to design a kitchen customized to our needs and preferences so that we can enjoy cooking again. So first, let's make our kitchen preferences list. We want to grab a sheet of paper and put at the top, in the center, kitchen preferences. Kitchen preferences. And then you want to create 3 columns on your paper by drawing 2 lines from top to bottom. And so you'll have 3 columns. So on the left side, write pet peeves. In that left column at the top, write pet peeves. And then in the center at the top, write reason. Just the word reason at the top in the center. And on the right column, make sure that you're writing the word solutions. Solutions. So we all know a reason why we have pet peeves on here, because there's things that have been bothering us in this kitchen, but we need the reasons and the solutions because it's helpful to honor our pet peeves as valid so we can honor that and to create a reason-based solution that truly resolves the issue. All right, so let's start setting up this kitchen preferences list. Whatever isn't working for you in your kitchen, write that down under pet peeves. Then you'll want to consider why that bothers you. And then right next to it, in that center column, write down the reason that that pet peeve bothers you. And then get creative and find a solution. Now it's up to you. It might be helpful to write all your pet peeves out first, or you might do better jumping around the page and to wherever you feel more inspired to write. So some of the things you might have on there, you might have plastic as a pet peeve. Your reason might be because it gets stained. So your solution might be to use glass instead. Maybe your pet peeve is glass because it breaks so much. So your solution might be to use metal or silicone products. Maybe pots and pans that are non-stick are a pet peeve, and your reason might be because they chip. So then you'll use parchment paper or maybe non-stick items as your solution. It could be those hand wash only items. The reason being that the dishwasher is usually just easier to use. So then your solution might be to have only dishwasher safe items in your kitchen. Maybe your pet peeve is items behind other items because when you're cooking, you just want to be able to find things and use them and move along. So your solution might be that you'll do a single row of items so that you don't have to keep digging behind things to find things. Not having ample counter space might be a pet peeve. And it might be because you just want it to be easy to be able to cook and prep meals, and you don't want to have to cook in a corner on the edge of a counter and things are just falling off. So your solution might be that you assign a specific place on your counter for food prep and a specific space on your counter for for serving the meals. Another pet peeve could be that you just don't have enough tools in your kitchen. It might be a pet peeve because it just takes longer to cook meals if you have to keep rinsing out the pot or keep rinsing off the spoon between stirs. Things like that could be frustrating and just daunting. And so your solution might be to get enough utensils to cook one usual full meal without having to constantly coordinate using one pan for multiple items. So it's really helpful to get all these things that just kind of go through our minds constantly, right out of our minds and onto paper, where we can see them so that we can actually do something about them. So it's okay if you don't come up with all your reasons or solutions right away. You can always add more later and refine the list in the days to come. All right, so that helps us to resolve those pet peeves. Now, let's reduce our excess in our kitchens. Yes, that means it's time to start setting up your minimalist kitchen. So I want to challenge you to choose a reduced amount of dishes and appliances to keep accessible, and then tuck away the rest of those useful items into boxes for just a few weeks. Since it's good to clean up and reset our kitchens each day, let's choose to aim to set up about 1 day's worth of dishes in our cabinet. That's different for everyone. If you work, then you're probably only cooking maybe 1 or 2 meals at home. If you live at home, then it's going to be probably considerably more dishes. If you have a big family and you're like got a bunch of kids, that's going to be even more. So just try to choose 1 day's worth of dishes to keep accessible. So for right now, for today's class, just choose 1 cabinet or 1 drawer to start with. I suggest starting with something easy, like something where there's just a bunch of cups or just a bunch of plates or just a bunch of silverware. All right, so the fun part, for the next few minutes, I encourage you to remove all the items from that 1 cabinet or drawer. Take out everything, that's right, pull it all down, put it on the counter, pull out everything from that cabinet or drawer. And then once you're done that, you're going to only place back what you actually use and actually need for that day. So you'll want to consider your kitchen preferences list and make sure that you're only reshelving items that you truly enjoy. Make sure that you're only shelving things that are not going to be on one of those pet peeves. And if you see a pet peeve in there, then try to see what you can do to create a solution for that based off of your list. Now, the key is that whatever's left on that counter after you're done organizing and putting things back that are specifically for that day, I encourage you to take whatever's left and put that into a box. Just any box, and just tuck that box away for about a month. So if while we're in today's class, you've already finished reshelving your first cabinet, feel free to go on to the next one and the one after that. This is just the process that you'll follow. So after we meet, continue doing the same thing with each of the cabinets throughout your kitchen. I understand you may not feel like doing everything depending on the size of the kitchen or the amount of things you have, but maybe each morning you can get up and just while you're fresh and early in the morning, while you're waiting for commercials on TV, whatever it might be, just get in the habit of going to that next cabinet or that next drawer, taking everything out and only putting back what you really, really want to keep. But of course, I encourage you to do it all at once, because the sooner you make that leap, the sooner you make that leap, and the sooner you make it what you'd like, the longer you get to enjoy it. And a quick tip, if you throughout the week are using this storage and you find that there is something that you actually do need throughout the week, it's okay to pull that from the box and put that into your storage. I wouldn't take everything back out and put it in there. But if you find something that you actually really do need throughout the week, like you didn't realize, I think I forgot, I'm gonna need this wine glass today. I'm gonna need it for communion or whatnot. Then you can make sure just bring that back out and then just keep it moving. All right, so while you're working on your kitchens, I'm gonna share some more minimalist tips with you. So you're actually already working on the first tip, which is to manage an overabundance of dishes by only keeping 1 day's worth of dishes. By only keeping 1 day's worth of dishes out and choosing a helpful place to put each type of dish. So this will help you to ensure that you never have to struggle to find your dishes again. So when I say each type of dish, all the bowls in one spot, all the spoons are in one spot. We don't want to kind of crowd all the cutlery into one little jar trying to be minimalist, but then you can't find stuff. We want to make it easy for ourselves. We want to make it simple for ourselves. So one specific spot for all those items. So we've chosen 1 day of dishes in order to set how many dishes we're going to have in our cabinets. However, there's another way you can do that. You can let your dishwasher kind of help you set your limit. So your dishwasher can fit only but so many things in there. So I would choose dishes that you know will actually fit in your dishwasher, so that you're not going to be doing multiple loads every night and then waking up thinking, oh, I forgot to do the second load or the third load. You want to make sure that you have whatever can fit in that dishwasher, and that way your counters can be cleared off at night. You don't have to worry about waking up to more dishes to wash. So if you can fit 10 plates in there, 10 cups, 10 spoons, 10 bowls, and that's it, maybe 2 cooking dishes, then figure out a way to make that work. Then figure out how to work with that and let that be the amount that you keep in your cabinets. So if any of these ideas so far seem kind of extreme, We've also got to admit that us struggling to find and use the tools in our kitchen and spending hours cleaning is a little bit extreme too. So you can go as far as having even just one dish for each person in the family. So one dish for each person in the family, and whenever they eat off of it, we just, soak and hand wash those dishes after each meal, which is what my setup is. Drop it into the soapy water after each meal, rinse it off, and we're ready to go. So whatever you do, I encourage you to choose zero hesitation dishes, ones that will work for everyday use. So for example, you want to make sure that your items aren't so large that it feels silly to use that plate or that bowl for a small snack. And you want to make sure that your plates aren't so small that you feel like you can't barely fit the food on the plate. So choose items in your kitchen that are a good size for any meal. Another example is to steer away from items that can't go in the dishwasher and can't go in the microwave safely. You want to make sure you choose instead items that suit your cooking needs and your eating needs for whenever you need to cook and eat. To keep your minimalist setup looking nice and easy to function in, you'll need to clean up and reset your minimalist setup every day. But this will actually be easier now because you have less stuff. If you'd like, you can download my Decluttered Minimalist Workbook for cleaning routines to follow and for guidance on how to declutter your entire home. So to manage that overabundance of appliances, it's important to look and see if you have any redundant items, any redundant appliances that basically do the same thing. So for example, if you have a toaster oven, a toaster, or maybe a blender, a food processor and an immersion blender, or an air fryer and an oven with a convection setting, then you can look and see if there's one of those items that can be used for all purposes, and then let go of the rest. To deal with any special use items, my suggestion is don't. So yes, that would mean not having that special use item for that time of day, that time of year. It also, though, means enjoying that space for the other 365 days of the year. So if you really enjoy seasonal items, I would just choose things like lightweight, collapsible items, like a thin tablecloth or a tapestry, maybe wall decals, etc. That way you can store it in a very small box or a bin, and it will take up far less space throughout the year. So I suggest letting go of any of the seasonal cups, the seasonal mugs, the seasonal this, the seasonal that, especially the big heavy items, and just trade that for something that's flat, something that's easy to store, and you can have the same feeling without the same weight on your life. So if you're enjoying listening to these ideas while cleaning, you can listen to my minimalist videos anytime on YouTube, where I share tips for a minimalist home, car, toys, etc. So my last suggestion is what to do with the bin of items that you don't keep. So for now, place them in a bin and leave them in that bin or box for 1 month, and then set an alarm for 1 month from today. Because absence makes the heart go fonder, we will likely lose some of our cling to those items. And this month-long experiment will give you an opportunity to just get a taste of what it's like to live more with less. Again, throughout the month, if you need any of those items, then go ahead and put them back in the cabinet. If you actually need them and you find that it's something that's actually useful. Then 1 month from now, consider which is more important. Is the freedom that you experienced having a clutter-free kitchen, is that more important to you? Or is it holding on to those items that you didn't really need and that really actually weren't that helpful? Do your best to be honest with yourself and only keep the items that are truly enjoyable. And if you must, maybe 1 or 2 items that are really worth the trouble, and then let the rest go. So if you're having trouble letting go of items, ask yourself, does this item really bring you joy, or is it no longer serving you? Ask yourself, have you really used it in the past year? And be honest with yourself, and do yourself a favor and free yourself from any unhelpful items. Keep in mind, this is absolutely a journey. It is not a destination because it takes time. It takes time, and it's a process to transform old habits into new minimalist ones. So be patient and gentle with yourself. Keep your kitchen minimal and customized to your preferences, and enjoy that easy to cook and clean in kitchen each and every day. So you may have noticed that I said earlier that my family and I, we live with 12 healthy habits in order to enjoy a better quality of life. So then minimalist living is just one of the 12. We embrace all these healthy habits so that we can have less bad habits to sabotage our efforts to obey God, and more healthy habits and good habits to support our success as we live to do all that Yahweh has called us to do. So for minimalist living, as well as each of these 12 healthy habits, I offer guidance via videos and classes and workbooks, as well as support groups to help you to implement and stick with each habit. So if you could use more guidance with this or any of the 12 healthy habits, I'm here to guide you, and you can find more details on my website, which is trulythrivinglives.org. All right, so I'd love to know, how did you enjoy today's class, and what questions do you have for me? You can let me know in the comments below, or if you'd like, you can save your questions for a support group or for coaching. Either way, I look forward to supporting you along your journey. All right, thanks again for attending, and I hope you have a blessed day.